Here is an update on the weather for March 18th, 2013. Let's get right into, I just turned on my heated rain gauge out here out the window, and here we've got snowfall falling at a rate of about a quarter to a half an inch per hour. I'd say we've got about probably about an inch and a half on the ground right now here in Endicott, New York in the southern tier. Here's what the drive home looked like for me. Here's a few pictures and a few quick videos. You can see the roads were quite snow covered, and this was actually in town. So this is quite remarkable. The dew points were so low. The dew points are holding well into the teens and single digits when the snow started. So what happened was the temperature had to cool to get to the dew point, and we had a big temperature drop off when the snow started. The temperature dropped down to 26 degrees here, and the snow was able to even lay on the road despite the strong March sun. So that could bump up snowfall accumulations for some areas. And I'm going to discuss that here shortly. You can see things were really snow covered this afternoon on my way home from work. So let's get right into this snowy Monday for many of you. Here are the snowfall totals and the low tracks I'm expecting. You'll notice the first low heads up like this. This is actually going to change a lot of the snow in western and central Pennsylvania over to actually plain rain come after, say, 3 or 4 a.m. tomorrow morning, and that will progress some warm air into the southern tier of New York and northeast Pennsylvania. It's the Poconos and the Catskills, the White Mountains of New England. Most of New England will stay pretty much all snow, with the exception along the coast, 20 miles from the coast. That's where we'll stay, probably a mixture, and it'll cut down total snowfall accumulations. But even Boston now, we're expecting a solid 5 to 8 inches likely, and even back further west towards Worcester, up through New Hampshire, as this low cranks off the coast, and this low becomes the secondary low and transfers all of its energy. This will allow colder air to filter into New England, and this will have implications on a very solid 15 to 20 inch snowfall across New Hampshire up through Maine. And this in New England won't be just restricted to higher elevations. Lower elevations could very well get hit by this as well. So keep an eye on that. Heed those winter storm warnings that are in effect on your National Weather Service homepage. So across Connecticut, Rhode Island, particularly northern parts of those states, will also get a solid 6 to 10 inches likely, probably locally higher amounts, especially in Massachusetts here. The northern and central part of the state as well could see, and the extreme western edge as well, could see upwards of 10, maybe 12 inches out of this. Poconos and the Catskills could see pushing 10, maybe 11 inches of snow in many of the areas, maybe upwards of locally higher amounts to 14 inches on some of those higher elevations here. And extending down towards Interstate 80 here, that's where we're seeing the snow, and we'll continue to see the snow overnight into Monday night into Tuesday morning. But like I said, a lot of this will begin to mix with sleet, freezing rain, especially across southern tier of New York, Pennsylvania here, and then we'll eventually change over to plain drizzle, plain regular rain and drizzle across upstate New York and Pennsylvania and New Jersey throughout the day on your Tuesday, and that will start to melt some of this accumulation. This is a very heavy, wet snow, so this is not the kind of stuff you really want to be shoveling, but it is sticking to pretty much everything, so be careful of that. It's here in New England that the attention is really going to turn its eyes to after midnight tonight, once this thing gets cranking across the northeast and this low pressure hugs the coast and produces a wide swath of snowfall across the general area of central and northern New England. And even southern New England will get a couple inches to several inches out of this, depending on, and we even think parts of after midnight, or after 6 a.m. tomorrow morning, as the cold air filters into New York City and Long Island, we could even see an inch or two, or maybe up to 3 inches in parts of those areas as well. Northern New Jersey here in the higher elevations could see upwards of 6 to 10 inches likely. Locally higher amounts to 14 inches can't be ruled out as well. So, and most of the snow is done here in the Appalachians back through West Virginia and parts of Virginia and Maryland. We still have some winter weather advisories for an additional 2 to 4 or 3 to 6 inches, but most of that moisture is pulling up through Pennsylvania and will continue throughout the night into New York State, New Jersey, and then gets cranking in New England. So let's take a look at when are we going to see spring. Spring is roughly only 2 days away here. We have the temperatures. Cold air continues across the northern U.S., reinforcing shot of cold air with a negative NAO is minus 2.5 right now. AO index is going to minus 6. That really means we're going to continue to see shots of cold air. Very warm across the southern states here along the Gulf Coast, but you have this tight temperature gradient, the baroclinic zone, that's really cranking the storms out. Here out west, things remain very temperate across most of California, Oregon, and Washington, and the Rocky Mountains for that matter. But as we continue through the forecast period, we're not looking at any major warm spells for the northeast states. Other than that, we don't have too much else going on. I want to show you a quick model run here. This is the high resolution NAM. It's actually showing that about during the early morning hours of Tuesday into Tuesday afternoon, this storm develops near Delmarva, really gets cranking northeastward. So that's pretty much going to do it for MeteoMark. Like me on Facebook at MeteoMark. Subscribe to us on YouTube. There's a 4-day forecast for my hometown viewers from Binghamton to Elmira and the northern tier counties of Pennsylvania. Here on your Tuesday, you can see, well, let's take a look into Monday night here, because this video is for March 18th, 2013. For Monday night, we're going to continue with the snow changing over to sleet by midnight, then over to freezing rain and freezing drizzle. Probably a total accumulation of 2 to 4 inches in the valleys, with 3 to 5 inches likely on the hilltops. And lows will be approaching 30. Lows will rise overnight. Then we get into Tuesday. That's where we warm up, 40 to 44 degrees in some areas, and that'll start to melt some of the snow and sleet and freezing rain that fell overnight. We'll change to drizzle by afternoon. And to Wednesday and Thursday, seasonably cold, 32, 31 degrees, overnight lows in the mid to upper teens. Some of the colder valleys could get as low as 8 or 9 degrees. That's going to do it for MeteoMark.